Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Lauren if you're new here. I haven't said these words in a very, very long time. I've been gone for a little bit. Yeah, by the title of this video, you know I'm here to explain a little bit more. I've been really nervous to make this video. I was gonna make it a few weeks ago and then other stuff happened in between there and you're gonna hear all about that. But basically, the pandemic isn't over, guys. In case you forgot. If you follow me on Instagram and on Twitter, you will know that the first or second week of September, I tested positive for COVID. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how I got it, what led up to me getting it, what happened afterwards, and the most heartbreaking part of it all, how I exposed my parents who are in their 60s. They are okay right now, they are stable. Thank you for everyone's prayers and everything and well wishes that you've all been sending my way. I've been seeing them. September, man, was probably the worst month of my life, I feel like. I'm very happy to be in October. I don't even know where to begin. I'm really nervous to make this video because I've chosen to share my life on the internet, and if you've been following me on my vlog channel, you'll know that I've been tested for coronavirus maybe like 7 times. It's free here in LA. I have friends that are trying to get pregnant, friends that are pregnant, people who have autoimmune diseases around me. So anytime that I have seen friends here in LA, I've been tested. We've been outdoors, we've been wearing masks, we've been doing all of the precautions, and I thought that I was doing everything right. And I mean, I was up until a certain point. And again, I don't even know if this is like a matter of right or wrong. I think it's more of a matter of like choices. The whole point of why I wanted to make this video in the first place is because if I could help anyone else out there with what to do, if you have coronavirus, if you test positive, what to do if you think you have it, if my situation can be turned into a positive for anyone else out there, then this video is worth it. And I guess I really hope that everyone is able to practice a little bit of kindness and acceptance in the comments. I think that's what's kept me from making this video so much. Any mean comment or thought that you want to send my way, trust me, I have already said it to myself tenfold. I've already felt it more than any of your comments could ever do. So yeah, whatever, take that as it is. I wanted to make this video so that I could help you guys. Chances are somebody out there watching this video right now will test positive for COVID in the next few months. It's an unfortunate thing, but if I can help you make better decisions, be smarter about your treatment, your recovery, then I guess that's why I wanted to do this. So I guess let's just get into it and I'll stop being awkward. What's been really interesting is that I've been vlogging this entire time. If you go over to my second channel, on my vlog channel, I have been vlogging this entire process. Right now, actually, as you're watching this video, I have a vlog that's up where you can see my symptoms. Like, I just have like a little at first, and at the time, I did not know what it was. And then looking back and then matching it up with dates, I'm like, oh, that was COVID. And I didn't know it at the time. And no part of this video is me wanting to place blame on anyone but myself. My choices, my consequences, that's really what it is. So I'm just gonna get started into it. Before COVID, I was going to fly back into town for a wedding. And so my plan was to just be in town in Colorado for a week. I ended up having to cancel 3 different flights. Shout out to Southwest being the most amazing airline that allows people to safely travel during a pandemic and only books their flights with all the middle seats open. Love you, Southwest. And no change fees. So that is another love you, Southwest. I made the decision to go to 2 of my best friends' wedding, and it was an incredible weekend. They cut down the guest list. They had to do all of these precautions. There was no dance floor, hand sanitizing stations. Every event was mostly outdoors. The ceremony was 100% outdoors, and we all felt really safe being with each other because we've all spent quarantine together. Like, they've all spent it together in Colorado. They're not bringing in new people, so we kind of felt like we were protected under this like bubble mentality. And what I will say is every wedding event was COVID compliant. It was when me and my friends made the decision to have a maskless after party in a hotel room. And I feel like that is probably where the biggest spread amongst my friend group happened. We don't know exactly where the first, patient 0 in our group got it, but there was an event a few days before the wedding, and that is most likely where some people contracted it and then brought it to the wedding. Again, it was my choice. Everything here is my choice, and I think I want to continue to reiterate that. And I feel like when you share your life on the internet, everyone thinks they know everything, and that you're entitled to an opinion of like, well, this shouldn't have happened, and blah 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 blah. And I'm just here to tell you that you have no idea. You have no idea what went into all of these decisions. And I guess I'm choosing to be really honest and vulnerable with you guys. So it'd be really cool if you could choose to practice kindness and like just accept that I want to just share this story with you. So the wedding was amazing, and then I came back home to my parents' house, and I was supposed to fly home on Wednesday, and then I got a call the Tuesday, September 8th, that someone in our group had tested positive, and that I should probably go get tested. Because I was in Colorado at the time and my insurance didn't like move over there, it was a whole thing where I tried to get tested on I think that day after, but I ended up getting tested on Friday, and I didn't find out my positive COVID test until Sunday. But I knew by then. My body felt weird. So before I go on, I just want to say like what this whole experience is like. After you test positive for coronavirus, you are then called by a contact tracer. I was contacted by the contact tracer, and essentially what that is you test positive, they have to call you, they have to get the information of everyone that you have seen 2 days prior to when your first symptoms appeared, because apparently that is when you are the most contagious. 2 days before you start to feel symptoms, if you even show symptoms at all. And that's a really interesting situation to kind of sit there and go through your phone of like, what did I do the past 2 days? Here's this person's phone number, here's this, here's that. They went over all of my symptoms, they got my demographics and all of that. They asked me questions about the event. It's a whole thing when the contact tracer calls you. It's about like a 35 minute phone call of just all these details that they need to know. And I guess let's just start talking about the symptoms that I felt. I actually wrote down all of my symptoms day by day. So my last contact with the person who has tested positive was on Monday the 7th. I got the call Tuesday the 8th, and then I remember that day I had an upset stomach all day. Interestingly enough, this is not very interesting. This is most likely a lot of TMI, and I apologize, and I'm not going to think about the amount of people in my life watching this video, but we're all human, okay? My first symptom that I had looking back on it was that I had diarrhea all day on Tuesday, and I had this small tickle in my throat. I found that really strange, and then looking back and talking to a few other people, that is a symptom of it. On 9/9 on Wednesday, I had a small mini occasional cough. Felt like a tickle, or like I couldn't quite clear my throat. And this is really interesting because I have vlogs from this day, and I'm sitting there and I'm talking to the camera, and I'm turning and I'm like talking and I'm like like I can't clear my throat, and I had no idea why. Thursday, I started to feel kind of achy, and then I started to get some muscle pain. I felt like I had slept on something wrong, but it was more than that. I also don't want this video to like freak people out and make you like a hypochondriac. I felt achiness in like my back, like my upper back. What was really weird was that I started to feel tingly, like not just like achy, but like tingles on my back. It was so strange. Friday, I woke up feeling very achy, small chills, and then I started to lose my sense of smell and taste a bit midday, Friday the 11th. It wasn't until Friday, Saturday, when I had like a bowl of my favorite ice cream in the world, Bluebell ice cream, and I couldn't taste it. That was when I was like, oh, I probably have it. This is terrible. I am at my parents' house. I'm so afraid. I'm not gonna cry. I was terrified. I felt like I just felt so run down. I felt so tired and achy, and then I never had a dry cough. Unless you count that little tickle cough. If anything, I had like a little bit of phlegm, a little bit of like mucus, but that wasn't even my biggest symptom. I feel like my biggest symptom was COVID brain, like fog, just like really tired. And While I don't have any more respiratory symptoms, my smell and taste kind of come in and out on their own. Like I was talking about, I have COVID brain. It just felt like brain fog. There were a few times when I was reading like something, I don't even know, instructions on how to make a food or like something on Instagram, and I, for the life of me, just could not read the sentence. It was so weird. Like someone has literally like turned the off switch onto my brain. It was so strange. I felt very run down and tired and out of it. I got chills. My mom says that I had a fever. I think I had a fever like one day, but like only for a short amount of time, not like a crazy amount of time. I never really had breathing problems. Okay, so now back to the story. So I'm at my parents' house, and as soon as I get that phone call that someone in our group tested positive, that I need to go get a test done, I had to tell my parents. We had to start keeping our distance. I didn't believe that I had it. I was like, oh, I'm fine, I'm fine. And we did continue to keep our distance, but clearly not very well, because I ended up giving it to my parents. And September was like the worst month of my life, and I feel like I'm still, right now, filled with guilt and shame and humiliation and reckless. Like no amount of symptom will make up for the pain and anxiety and shame that I feel for exposing my parents and putting their lives at risk. What was strange is that when I felt terrible and then when they felt terrible, it was at different times, because my symptoms came on sooner than theirs because I got it sooner than them. So at first that first week, we were like taking care of each other, and my parents tested positive. They got rapid tests done. What we ended up doing was that I slept in my room, my dad slept in the guest room, and then my mom slept in their bedroom, because we've read that it was better for us to separate so that we couldn't like infect each other more with like the viral load. Although I have heard other people be like, no, that's not real. Once you have it, you have it. But then I've had other like doctors and nurses be like, well, that's not true. And so then my parents were like, let's just sleep in different beds. We have a guest room. Like, why not? It's right next door. So that first week, we were all just like, you know, really tired and making sure that we all had enough fluid. And we were like, at one point, like my dad woke up early and like gave me breakfast in bed and gave my mom breakfast in bed. And then after that, like I got everyone the emergency. We were all making sure that we were drinking water. We were very like, I don't know, I'm really happy that we all like had each other during this terrible, terrible time. It wasn't until the day before I posted on Instagram asking you guys, ask me any questions about coronavirus and I will answer them on camera. I was going to film that video in Colorado with my parents on camera until Saturday night, when my dad started to have problems breathing. That Sunday, we made the really tough decision to bring him to the ER, and they admitted him to the hospital for 5 days. I'm gonna stop the story here to quickly let you guys know about some of the products that I purchased on Amazon when I found out that this was happening. One of my best friends, Adrienne Finch, she's also a YouTuber. You might have seen her on my channel or my Instagram before. She contracted coronavirus a few months ago. I texted her because I started to have this severe anxiety attack, I think like a few days before my parents tested positive. Of just like, oh my God, I have COVID. Oh my God, I'm at my parents' house. Oh my God, am I gonna give it to my dog? Am I going to, what is happening? How do I know when my symptoms are gonna be good or bad? Like how am I gonna know what to do? You hear the media talking about it and then you don't know what to do when you get it. So I was texting Adrienne and I asked her what to do, and then I had this moment where I was Googling, when are COVID symptoms bad enough that you need to go to the hospital? And all of the articles that I read were saying, if you feel like you have to consciously breathe, which means you're at a resting state and you feel like you have to be the one to be like, or you felt like you couldn't quite catch your breath. When you read something on the internet and you think you have it even more. When that thing has to do with breathing and you have anxiety, it makes it harder to breathe even more. So I'm standing there freaking out, crying, like my parents like far away in the room, and I'm just like, I don't know, I can't tell what this is. It was just a combination of all of these things happening in my life. Everything all happened in the same week. Thank God for Adrienne. And she advised that I purchase this item, which is a pulse oximeter. It measures your oxygen levels, the amount of oxygen that's flowing through you, that's making its way through your organs. It should be at a level of 89 to 90%. And I purchased that on Amazon. I think it was like $15 or $20. Thank God for that device. If anyone out there thinks you have coronavirus, if you just got diagnosed, purchase this device. I like this one because it was purple and it's like the smallest semblance of happiness that I could find in a terrible situation. It made us feel so much better to know, to just be able to know, is this anxiety or can I actually not breathe? Are my organs getting oxygen? If it weren't for that device, we wouldn't have known to take my dad to the ER. Hey, Editing Lauren here. As I'm looking back on the footage, I realized that I didn't actually go through the other list of the Amazon products that we purchased that I felt like really helped us. So I really quickly wanted to do that. All of these will be linked down below in my description. And once again, I am not a doctor. Do not take this as medical advice, but one of the biggest questions I got from you guys was, what are the things that I did? So this is me explaining that. Do not think that I'm a doctor. I'm not. Aside from the pulse oximeter, which I highly recommend, the second thing that we purchased was zinc gluconate. I can't pronounce things, guys, just accept it. I heard that this can really significantly reduce your symptoms and the time period of when you feel really, really crappy when you have COVID. So there's that. Once again, do your own research. We also purchased some more emergency to have around the house, just like raspberry flavor. I know a lot of people out there like say that it's like a hoax or something, but I'm kind of the mindset of like, it can't hurt. It's vitamin C. Yeah. And then the other thing we purchased was also a recommendation from my friend Adrienne. I cannot for the life of me pronounce this. I will not even try. Here is a picture of it. It's a homeopathic medicine. It's these like little teeny balls. They kind of remind me of like Nerds, the candy, and they actually taste pretty good. You like put them under your tongue and then they dissolve. And it's supposed to reduce the severity and the duration of flu symptoms like body aches, headache, fever, chills, fatigue. So we were all taking that. I feel like that actually really helped, but it's hard to tell. I just wanted to let you guys know all of the things that we purchased. And then the last most recent thing that we purchased was this water bottle on Amazon that tracks how much water you drink every single hour of the day. So you can look down at your water bottle and say, oh, it's 2 p.m. I should have drinking this much water by now. I knew that when I was leaving back to LA, I needed to figure out a way to keep my parents hydrated when I wasn't around. So thankfully we purchased this cute pink and blue one for my mom, and then we purchased a blue one for my dad, and they actually said that it has been helping them. Obviously, guys, these are not, I'm not trying to sit here and say that these cured us or anything. It's one of the biggest questions you guys asked, so I wanted to fill you in. And then I guess I kind of want to talk about that night and that decision of bringing your parent or anyone, yourself, to the hospital. I don't know about you, but everything that I've ever seen online in the media is that if you go to the hospital for COVID, that's it for you. That's it. We just see these pictures of people in like these like suits at the hospital. You hear horrible stories how no one can come in and visit you. People like passing away alone, and that's all you hear. Right? Well, we are a long ways away from March. That is a big message that I really want you to take away from this video. Bringing my dad to the hospital was the 100% right decision. My mom and I are not doctors. What happened Saturday night and Sunday was a matter of my mom and I going back and forth of, well, do we do ibuprofen for the fever or do we do Tylenol, acetaminophen? We don't know. There was all these things. I had people DMing me saying, don't do ibuprofen, it's bad. And then everyone else was like, oh, well, that was debunked by the CDC. You can use it. We had no idea what to do. But all we knew was that my dad had a fever for much longer than my mom did. And it was really strange because it just kind of suddenly came on. Because we had already received the pulse oximeter, we were checking all of our oxygen levels. That pulse oximeter started to get low, dangerously low for my dad. We brought my dad to the ER that Sunday, and I'm so thankful to the incredible humans at the Sky Ridge Hospital in Lone Tree, Colorado. They were able to break his fever immediately. One of the most important things that they say when you're sick, when you have a fever, hydrate, fluid. But when you have a fever and you're sweating, you are losing so much fluid. So my dad felt a little out of it because he was dehydrated on top of a fever, on top of finding out that he had COVID pneumonia. So thank God for us bringing him there. They were able to monitor his oxygen levels, and they were able to give him treatments that I really want to talk to you guys about. I didn't know any of this until I went through it. So doctors and hospitals now, they understand the virus more than they did in March. So the fatality rate of when you go to a hospital has significantly decreased. There's no cure, obviously, but they know how to better fight it. And one of the really interesting ways that they have been fighting it is with plasma from the people out there who have had COVID and have recovered. And I find that so interesting, and that's actually something that I'm going to do. And I so encourage you and everybody out there, if you had COVID and you recovered and you don't have any more symptoms, please look into donating your plasma. There are people out there who can benefit from plasma in your body that will help them get better, that will improve their symptoms. Guys, again, I'm not a doctor. Holy crap, I'm not a doctor. But if you have had COVID and you recovered, this is something really good that you can do. Please look at the links down below in my description about how you can find a place to donate plasma in your area. Because right now, as you're watching this video, there are people in hospitals who need that plasma, who have COVID, and your plasma could help them. So please do that. I will be doing that as well. I just wanted to throw that out there to you. I found that so interesting. Okay, so I'm rambling. My dad was in the hospital for 5 days. He is currently doing so much better. He's getting stronger every single day. I was just talking to him earlier today, and I love my parents so much. And I'm so lucky to have them as my parents, and I can't explain to you the amount of guilt that I feel by exposing them. I should have just not stayed there. I should have stayed at a friend's house like we talked about, and that was just irresponsible on my part. And we could have done things better, and I wanted to make this video so that I can help others do better. Something else that I found really interesting that, you know, we've been hearing all these things in the news about like experimental drugs and all of these things. My dad received a course of remdesivir. I'll put that word on the screen. If you know more about it, if you're a doctor or a nurse, that's what it is. I believe it was like a 4-course treatment, I believe. When my dad was really sick, he required 4 liters of oxygen because the COVID gets into your lungs and makes it harder to breathe. Obviously, this is like a really private, personal matter that I'm choosing to share online, and I've gotten my parents' permission to talk about this, but you know, there's only so many details that I want to give out. My dad is doing better every day. My mom is the one who has had a phlegmy cough the entire time. I never had a really big cough, but my mom had a really big cough and a lot of congestion, and she had a fever on and off. She's doing a lot better also. When all of this started, I asked you guys to send me some questions on Instagram and that I would answer them in a video, so I'm going to do a little bit of that now. What symptom did you notice first, assuming you noticed any? Like I said, the upset stomach, the bathroom issues, and then I started to feel really achy, really achy. I think what was most painful for me was the nausea. I'm someone that like has like a fear of throwing up and vomiting. I really truly do. And putting food in your mouth and then instantly feeling nauseous was probably the worst feeling ever. And the whole not being able to taste thing, there is no crueler form of torture than not even being able to bury your sadness into a bowl of microwavable mac and cheese because you can't even taste it. No crueler form of torture than that. It was horrible. All you want to do is feel better. I was feeling so terrible about myself, mentally, affecting my parents. All I wanted to do was just eat my freaking feelings, and I couldn't even do that. Can I just say that I got a concerning amount of questions asking me if I believe that COVID was a myth? I'm sorry. I don't even understand the question. Is it a myth? Absolutely not. It is not a myth. It is not like the flu. My friends who are ages 27 to 32, they had fevers for days, were in so much pain. It is not like the flu. Do not go about living your life saying, oh, I'll get it, I'll be fine, it's just like the flu. No, it is not. It is not the flu. I don't know who started this, if it's a political thing. COVID is real, it exists. Even to this day, 4 weeks after I got it, I'm still feeling weird. I'm still feeling like my taste goes in and out. I have worked out twice since having COVID. It is now harder for me to breathe. It's harder for me to catch my breath, and that is something. What sucks is right before COVID, I was in the best shape of my life. I had never seen that number on the scale. I had muscles. I was in such great shape, working out constantly, and now I have another uphill battle to go through, trying to get back into a healthy workout routine, and it's harder to breathe now. Even though I didn't really have many lung problems, it's now harder for me to breathe, and I don't know the long-term effects of this because it's so new. Someone asked, what kind of remedies did you use to tackle the virus that was helpful for you? I took ibuprofen with a mixture of Tylenol. To be totally honest with you, and I don't think I've ever said this on this channel before, welcome to Real Lauren, I was so nauseous that I actually had a friend of mine drop off some little gummy edibles that would help me sleep, that would help me be able to feel like I could eat, get rid of the nausea right away, and that was really helpful. They were just 10 milligrams of THC, and I could bite them in half if I wanted to take 5. That is something that truly helped me. I am over the age of 21, and it's legal here, and yeah. You and I have never had that kind of talk before, so there it is out in the open. That is one of the things that really and truly helped me, because I couldn't take, you can't take medication on an empty stomach, but then if you're nauseous, you can't eat it, and it was just this cycle, and it helped me eat. So what kind of test did you have to take? So the test that I took in Colorado, it was a nasal swab, but it wasn't the one to the brain. I believe, and nurses and doctors out there, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that they found out that they don't need to go all the way to your brain, not your brain, but like all the way up there. They can just do around this area, I think. Oh, here's another fun little tidbit that you might not know about. If you Google Walgreens free COVID test in your area, I hope in your area, Walgreens is doing that. If you meet their criteria, and I did, I had visited an area for a prolonged period of time where there was a spread of the virus, and Walgreens is offering free COVID tests to people who qualify. You have to sign up online on their website, and I did my own administered thing to the nose where it was just in this area, gave it back, and that took about, they said it would take about 3 to 5 days. It took 2 days for them to come back with a positive test. It's upsetting to me that these tests aren't freely available to everyone in every state. It really should be. I would try to Google, wherever you are, Walgreens free COVID test in my zip code, or free COVID test in my area. I have such a hard time believing that that's still so hard to access in other parts of the country and in the world, and I know that that's the case, I do, but just things change every day. So just keep looking. Like, set up a Google alert if you have to keep yourself safe, because the only way to really stop this is to know and to be testing if you think that you have it. Are you experiencing side effects right now? Today I had a moment of COVID brain fog, but it's weird. It happens for like 5 seconds. I was reading something and I just remember reading it and being like, snap out of it, and I was totally fine then. The taste and smell thing really sucks. It goes in and out. I had a friend of mine who's my age for like, I think 14 days straight. She had no sense of taste or smell. I don't know how she's doing right now. I'll have to follow up with her, but like, it's crazy. It is crazy. And if you follow my vlogs, if you know me in person, you might know that I'm someone who has a really, really strong sense of smell, like to the point where it's kind of like annoying. And it's weird now. That part of me is not normal. That's not like back as to what it was before. Also, to like combat anyone else saying anything of like, how could you get on a plane with COVID? I did not. So the CDC says that you are contagious until 10 days after your first symptoms started. My first symptoms started on September the 8th. It is now October 1st. I would not get on a plane or endanger anyone else unless I had doctor's approvals that I could do this. And in case you don't know, lots of things going on in my life. We have some roommate changes going on in my house, and I needed to be here. I needed to be here. No part of me wanted to leave my parents. No, yeah. What would you recommend others doing or would have done different to prevent it? It's a great question. Honestly, I feel like because we're in October. What month are we in of this? We're in month 7 of this insanely horrible period of time, this pandemic. We're in month 7. I know that a lot of you guys will agree with me out there. You start to get a little bit more lax. You start to see your friends a little bit more. Weather's getting colder. You're starting to see people indoors. Maybe you take off your mask. When you start to drink, your inhibitions get a little bit lowered and you start to get a little bit more comfortable. You start to bend the rules a little bit. You feel like you're in this false sense of security, and I fully believe that if we didn't have that after party, that this wouldn't have become so widespread, but I do not know. I do not know how it happened. I do not know how it got in, but I guess the whole point of why I wanted to make this video is that all it takes is one person who went to one event to bring it to you. How does it feel to know that you got it? If you think that you get FOMO in quarantine watching all your friends go do stuff, it is nothing compared to being the social pariah among your friends and roommates and just walking around knowing that I have it, this virus that we're all talking about, that I got it, that I recovered. But like when you tell people, you become this like artifact of like, well, what's this and how's that? And oh my God, I heard this and that. And I'm just kind of like, okay, really honestly, like, I understand why people, when you get it, you're like, I don't want to talk about it. I want to block it out. It happened. I want to recover, blah, blah, blah. I get that. And I wanted to make this video to kind of redirect people to be like, look, this is what it was like for me. Everyone's different. I feel like I have this like target on my back. I don't quite know how to describe it. Although I do know that now studies have come out and shown that I have at least 3 months of immunity, at least. Not that I'm gonna go around licking doorknobs and banisters or anything, but I don't know. It's weird. I had to miss my best friend's gender reveal for her baby. I was past my infectious date, but we talked about it, and because she has an autoimmune disease, she has diabetes, and she was pregnant, we talked about it, and she was like, I'm just still not comfortable. And I was like, I get it. I get it. And I had to miss that huge moment in her life, in my life. It sucks. What was your initial reaction to the positive test? You know what's really interesting? Wow. Things happen for a reason. Like I said, I was supposed to fly back that Wednesday, and on Monday, Labor Day actually, I got a text from Southwest that my flight had been canceled for weather. If I didn't receive that call on Tuesday that someone had tested positive for it, and the flight didn't get canceled, I would have gotten on a plane and I would have gone home to LA, and I could have not known. And who knows who I could have given it to. And it's like, that's exactly how this stuff spreads. And it is so important to communicate. This whole summer, all the weddings got pushed till these months and the next few months and early next year. And I just want to let you guys know that like, this is still a thing. I got it in Colorado and I live in LA. The amount of people, like LA used to be the epicenter, and I was safe here, and I got it in Colorado where it was not as bad. So that's what I mean. Like in the most unlikely of circumstances, it still penetrated our small group of friends, and it still could happen to you. And I just want you guys to be safe. Do you have any advice if someone gets COVID? If you get COVID and you feel good, drink more water than you think you need. One of the things that I actually did do a lot, apparently it's like COVID can get into the base of your lungs. I would do these really loud, audible, deep breaths, and I would hold it. So I would do, it's not gonna be a cute face, but it's and just get really, really, really deep in there. Like, yeah, God, I'm like forgetting because I'm just wanting to put this all behind me, but I've been wanting to make this video. One of the things that happened to me during this was my lungs felt really sharp. Like that, I don't know how to describe this, but that deep breath that I did, I remember the first time that I decided to do that, it kind of hurt to do it the very first time, but then I did it a second time and a third time, and I felt like it had expanded something, or that it had like broken through something. And I have been doing that with my mom and with my dad. I would consistently do that. You're supposed to sleep as vertical as possible, like so that you're not lying down flat horizontally, but to like sit up. Obviously stay inside. Holy crap, can't believe that's not the first thing that came out of my mouth. Stay inside. My battery died on my camera, but basically that's my entire story. I wasn't planning on this being such a long video, but I guess I had a lot to cover. I had a lot of questions that you guys sent me, and I just wanted to make sure I went over everything as thoroughly as possible. Make sure you're wearing a mask. Make sure you're making good decisions. If you are going to go see friends, wear a mask and consider getting tested as often as you can, as it is available to you. We're gonna make it through this. We have to, right? Right? We all miss concerts and movie theaters and things like that. Stay safe out there. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you again for all of the kindness. Although I'm prepared for a little bit of negativity for sharing my story, I've been so overwhelmed with like the amount of kindness that you guys have been showing me, advice from nurses and doctors and medical professionals. Just thank you. And I guess, yeah, that is my story. I will most likely be talking a little bit more about my experience coming back into my real life, trying to get a workout routine back on track. I do have a few more vlogs going up on my vlog channel. So in case you were curious about any more of this, feel free to go over to my vlog channel and you can watch them there. And I hope that you guys all have a great weekend and that you stay safe. It's fall. We can make it through this, guys. We can make it through together. If you found this video helpful or interesting or anything at all, please make sure you leave it a like. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. I am going to be posting more on this channel, I promise. My life got a little bit off track there for a second, but I'm back. I'm determined, and thank you to the amazing humans over on my Patreon. They were the first ones to know when all of this happened. I have new tiers that just went live October 1st. There's a lot of fun stuff happening over on my Patreon, so make sure you check that out in case you ever wanted to join. Now would be the best time because October is a full month. We've got all these events and plans and live streams, and yeah. Okay, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I love you very, very much. Bye.